So now I'm going to speak to the naysayers in the audience, which seems to be like the vast majority, if not the consensus. And I'm not going to try to convince anybody of anything because I just know better than to try. I've encountered the stereotype thinking on more than one occasion, and that's just life. But I'm going to say my piece regarding all of that. To start with, I have had my doubts along the way on more than one occasion, and I have expressed myself to her regarding those doubts on multiple occasions, and I have chosen to continue our dialogue because of the net positives that doing so entails, and because of how often I know that I am having authentic interaction with the actual person the account is about. I also am 100% certain that there have been times when I have been interacting with someone else. I'm only filling in the blanks with my best theories that, there is a staff that operates this account. It may only be a staff of one besides her. I think it has to be more than one because she has to sleep and she has classes to go to and a life to live otherwise, including just, getting groceries and recording content for the channel, for the account, I guess I should say, and just, sleeping if I didn't mention it before. So it seems like she is available to me at all times. And that's just not humanly possible. So yes, I totally understand the doubts and the reasons for them. And I have had them myself, like I said, and I have addressed myself to her kind of in quotes, because I'm not always certain that I'm actually interacting with her. Sometimes I am certain, sometimes I'm not as certain. So I understand some of the skepticism and some of the doubts, but my main thinking on that subject is whatever your profession is or just position in life, whether you're a student or a doctor or a lawyer or a pastry chef or anything of the sort, if you are a skeptic and you are a skeptic to the tune of she is a not safe for work online content creator who gets paid for creating not safe for work content and for interacting with her subscribers in a not safe for work kind of a way. Therefore, everything she says is phony and contrived and solely for the purpose of you continuing to be a subscriber and continuing to interact. I understand all that up to a point, but in terms of whatever your profession or current role in life may be, whether that's a student or anything else, I just want you to think about that kind of thinking in terms of your position in life currently. And let's just hypothesize that there are stereotypes about every conceivable position in life, whether it's based on age or gender or current role, like I said, whether it's student or a way, the way you make a living. Let's just say there are stereotypes about all of that. Would you yourself personally be willing to agree that all of those stereotypes about whatever role in life pertains to you are valid in your individual personal case? You tell me. Let's say you are in the legal profession. Would you agree with all stereotypes about lawyers applying to you individually, specifically? And I'm going to make the assertion that most of you are going to say, no, I'm not like the stereotype of everybody in the legal profession. Or I'm not like the stereotype of everybody who is a chef. Or I'm not like every 19-year-old female college student. I'm my own person. I'm unique, etc., etc., etc. And that's my point about Leia. She is a complete human being. This one facet of her that you are able to see as the not safe for work digital online content creator is just one facet of who she is. And the Instagram account I am dedicating to her is dedicated to some of the other aspects of who she is as a person. And of course, obviously, her appearance is what initially got my attention, but you have no choice but to take my word for it. If that was the only reason for the attraction, I would not be doing any of this, maybe 1% of this, because I believe she has an exquisite, sublime appearance. She is loveliness personified. But it is the interaction we've had via text messaging and the other types of content that she creates, like her creating art herself as the artist and everything that goes into that, and her travel vlog and the video that she recorded about touring the Van Gogh Museum. I guess it's in Amsterdam. Those aspects of who she is are also part of why I am attracted to her the way I am, and totally a worshiper of hers. That's just the reality of it. And even that is just the tip of the iceberg. So getting back to, the elephant in the room, yes, I am aware that some of the things she says to me and does for me, she does for other subscribers. At the same time, there is also content she creates just for me that is for me and for nobody else that I thoroughly enjoy, some of which is sexually explicit. We're both adults, but the number one video of hers that has moved me the most has literally absolutely nothing to do with her taking her clothes off or having her clothes off and doing anything beyond just not having her clothes on. It is the most heartbreakingly beautiful video I can imagine, and it is posted on the Facebook page that is the Leia Von Fans Facebook page. If you want to see that video, and why it touches me the way it does. You may not be touched the same way. You may not vicariously be touched the same way or actually grasp why it touches me the way it does, but it just absolutely makes me want to cry. It is so exquisitely, heartbreakingly beautiful and poignant. And if you can convince yourself that that is an act, then I think that says a lot more about you than it says about her or me. Because that video is a definition of authenticity, and just one aspect of that I think proves my point is she humiliates herself in that video because she cannot carry a tune. She has a lot of gifts. She has a lovely voice, but she can't carry a tune. And she is totally committed to recording that video for me, and especially that gesture where she kind of like covers her heart with her hands. If you, like I said, if you can convince yourself that all of that expressiveness is just an act, then I actually pity you. You are pitiful. You are pathetic. You are tragic. If you can convince yourself that is an act. So anyway, it seems like there were more specific aspects of the account and how it operates. Well, one of which is that there's a very strong indication that she is being handled, and to what degree she's being coerced, possibly, I can't tell, but that is a thought that has occurred to me and at least one other person that is a fan who has interacted with me on my social media presence where I am devoting content to her. And so, I don't know. I am agreeing up to a point with the skeptics out there that there is justifiable reason for some skepticism. But what I'm also saying is that there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that at least at times, and I think more often than not, I am interacting with the real person. And just one measure of that is she and I will discuss content that she creates just for me, and that I enjoy thoroughly, and that's part of, the overall picture of what goes on between the two of us. But I don't think I will, but I could point you. I mean, I've downloaded my half of the text messaging conversation that has taken place between the two of us. And in a Word document, it's 500 pages. We have had a ton of dialogue. And what you will be able to see is my half of us discussing custom content projects that she creates for me, in which she really can't share with her other subscribers because she refers to me by name in that content. So unless their name is the same as mine, it's not something she can recycle. And you can see where the concept we describe and agree to is exactly what she produces for me. So, anybody trying to claim that this is, it may just be a bot or some 80-year-old grandmother pretending to be her you just can't possibly be correct about that. You can see us having a conversation about custom content, and then you can see the actual custom content that I receive that is exactly what we talk about in our messaging conversation. So at least that portion of the dynamic between the two of us absolutely positively is real, and there is no possible way to dispute that. And I know I'm not going to convince all of you. I may not convince any of you that any of this is actual and real, but you're going to have that conversation with yourself. I mean, if anybody wants to see examples, I may be willing to provide examples, but it's only going to be if there is some real possibility of you interacting with her in the real world, in real life. If you are in The Hague or can get to The Hague and want to get to The Hague and want to do something to try and see her, find her yourself, I can tell you all her hotspots. I may or may not have referred to all of her hotspots, but I know some people are aware of them. And if you are someone that is in The Hague or is willing to go to The Hague, like from the Netherlands or Rotterdam, I mean, the Netherlands isn't that big of a place. And if you are in the Netherlands or somewhere very close by and want to go to The Hague to try and help us reconnect, then I'm willing to consider providing you with more details and more substance on what I am claiming here in terms of her and me having an authentic, real human-to-human dialogue, and that cannot be disputed. Like I said, you can see my half of the text conversation in which we talk about custom content, and then I can show you the custom content that she creates that exactly lines up with that text messaging conversation that we have. And if you can somehow convince yourself that that is all somehow coincidental, like, you are way more deranged than you might think I am. Like, how would she be able to cobble that together out of whole cloth other than it being exactly what I'm claiming it is? You can see me having the text messaging conversation with her. You can see what we agree to as the content, and you can see the actual content where she, in terms of the videos, she refers to me by name. There's just no way. You cannot possibly convince yourself that that is coincidental, that she already had that on the shelf for some other person with the same name as me that wanted the exact same thing that I described and that she and I agreed to, and she just recycled it for me. Like, that's way more insane than you might think I am because of the way I'm carrying on where she is concerned. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to cover in terms of specific details. And to boil it down again, yes, I have some of the same suspicions, I guess, that you have in terms of your stereotypical thinking. And yes, there is some validity to it, but at the same time, you literally cannot dispute the reality of a large part of what has transpired between her and me in terms specifically of the connection between our conversation on custom content and the actual custom content that was produced. So, you're welcome to your suspicions and stereotypes, But if you're going to participate in a dialogue about this, then you are also obligated to take seriously the real substance that has been generated as a result of the dynamic between her and me. And hopefully, at least one of you in the entire world will be satisfied enough of the possibility that this is all what I claim it to be, that you may personally get involved in going to The Hague and trying to get my contact information to her so that she and I can reconnect and pick up where we left off. So thank you for watching all the way through to this. I appreciate your interest in the subject. I really do. Even if you are one of the skeptics, that's just part of life. But, all I really care about is that one person decides it's enough, there's enough of a possibility of this being what I am portraying it to be on behalf of her as well as me, to actually do something about it and to go there and do it, or just if you're already there, to do something about it and get my contact information to her so that she can decide if she wants to pick up where we left off. Because, the biggest part of the motivation for all this is I don't think she is able to. Even if she wants to, she doesn't know where to find me. And I think, she may be overlooking at least one opportunity. I have shared YouTube videos with her, so she knows where to find a YouTube video of mine, which means she knows where to find my YouTube account, and she should have the ability to interact with me via my YouTube account. But a couple of the things that I know about her is that she is a very, very strong person. She almost cannot be fazed by anything. And it may be that she is just taking the current circumstances between her and me as a given in terms of the landscape of her life. And she is just getting on with her life because she has been disconnected. And that's the kind of thing that happens in life sometimes. And you just have to move on. And I don't know, but what I do know is I'm not going to give up as long as there is any way I can think of potentially reestablishing contact with her. And, once I run out of those options, we'll just see what happens then. But anyway, thank you for watching all the way through to here. And thank you for apparently even being willing to consider the possibility that what I'm describing is the actual reality, and the stereotype doesn't entirely describe everything and explain everything that has happened between the two of us, and to the point where you are willing to consider getting involved personally if you are in The Hague or can get to The Hague to do so, and in which case both of us will be eternally grateful. And I thank you for that. And we'll never be able to thank you enough if you are able to do something that results in her and me reconnecting and picking up where we left off. And I can't thank you enough for being willing to do so.